the way that I'm showing you how to do it. So we're going to do our syrup first. So what I do, get your pot hot. You don't have to do it this way, I'm just doing it because, you know, I kind of want to put on a show. So I'm going to start with Baron Jaeger. It's a honey liqueur. Since baklava is basically honey, sugar, nuts, phyllo dough. So we're just going to add it, you know, just going to make it a little bit. Baron Jaeger? Yep, that's what it looks like.
Yes, it is a rare, it's a honey liqueur.
Really want me to. I don't know if there's going to be enough. So we get our pot hot and
Hey, watch my sailing. Don't worry, you still have one eyebrow.
Okay, good. So then add our vanilla and rose water. Yeah, rose water, what I find, what a lot of traditional Mediterranean recipes have in them is rose water. But they'll leave it out because not a lot of people know that you can get it like everywhere. And they don't think that you're going to like it. What it does is it adds like that special depth to the recipe that it's that flavor. They're like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what that is.
Do you smell
it's
it?
Rose water. And you can
smell it. You can smell it through the room now.
As it cooks, and that was only about 2 tablespoons worth. It's good stuff. I'm adding a cup of water. You can get it at Wegmans. You can get it, I mean, honestly, if you go to Safeway, they have it. If you go to, like, my tiny little produce market, you go there, they have that. They also have, like, pomegranate molasses, which is awesome, which I highly recommend having. So, anyway, so I took the 1 cup of water to 1 cup of sugar, and then to 1 cup of honey. Just clover. You know, you can use whatever you want, wildflower, orange blossom, blueberry. You know, it's all whatever your personal taste is. Me, I just use clover because I did. You can also, what's really good in here, buckwheat honey. Buckwheat honey just like, it just kind of hits you in the face, but it's really good. I mean, if you want that. If not, don't worry about it. Use something less abrasive. So we have our simple syrup or honey syrup cooking on our stove. What you're going to do is you're going to simmer this, or you're going to bring this up to a simmer, and you're going to keep cooking it till the bubbles get really, really small. Like super tiny. You'll see them get like big and then tiny, and then it's done. It takes about 20 minutes to do, and just kind of let it go, give it a stir, you know, every once in a while, so that way it doesn't burn. What you can even do is to keep it from sticking on the sides, brush it with a little bit of water. You're good to go with that. So we'll start doing our baklava, or our layer baklava. Aluminum pan. Use a disposable one. I wouldn't recommend using one that you normally do because that syrup is sticky. It will pain in the butt. Pain in the butt to clean off, because I found out earlier today. So our nonstick pan, we're going to start there. We're going to put our first layer of phyllo dough. Now, the phyllo dough that I'm using is actually a pre-layered phyllo dough. There's about 6 layers per sheet for mine. So what I did is I actually broke them up into 2 layers. So with each layer that you're going to do, we're going to do about 4 or 5 layers. You're going to use 2 sheets of phyllo dough per layer. So what we do is we first put down our phyllo dough, and then we put down our butter. Because, you know, this is, in total you're going to use a half pound of melted butter. We're using a mixture of toasted chopped walnuts and toasted chopped pistachios. You can use almonds, you can use pecan, you can use whatever kind of nuts that you want. I chose to use walnuts and pistachios. Those are the most common that you'll find in baklava. So you see how the bubbles are really nice and big? That's not ready yet.
So you want them small.
We want them small. We want them teeny tiny little balls. So we put a layer of our walnuts chopped with pistachios that have been toasted in our oven at 350 for about 6 minutes. Ground cinnamon. Once again, you can grind it yourself or just get the pre-ground, your choice, whatever you want to do. And that is our one layer. So then we're going to go to our next layer. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's going to keep cooking. So we put on our next layer, once again, 2 sheets, or 2 of yours, 1 of mine. Butter. And our nuts.
That makes it so good, though.
You know, if you try this without butter, by all means try it, but it's not good for you. This is, you know, look, you're not eating this every day. I mean, you can eat this every day, but I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't recommend it if you want to, you know, fit in your clothes. But, you know, it's really good. But yeah, so so with each layer, you get the idea. You put the layer of phyllo, you put the butter, and you put the chopped nuts, and you put the cinnamon, all the way up to the top, where you just put 1 last piece of phyllo dough and butter, and then you just throw it in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. What you're also going to do beforehand, before you throw it in the oven, is you want to cut your baklava. What I mean by cut is, once you have your top layer here, I'll only do. Let me do 1 more layer to show you exactly what I mean. Butter, nuts.
How much butter is you have in there?
It's a ½ pound of butter for the full recipe. So you figure, you know, there's about 2 ounces of butter per 2 ounces of butter per layer.
I didn't mean to call you Stuart.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
So we've done 4 layers for our baklava. Our last layer, we don't put any nuts on. We just put our butter. You can put a little bit of cinnamon on it. And make sure with this last layer, you make sure you get all that butter gets in between each layer. Because if it doesn't, it's not going to cook right. So what I do is I score, or typically what I would do when I'm using phyllo dough is I will score the top. What the recipe that I have actually says is to cut all the way through all the layers, so that way everything mixes together, and then once you pull it out of the oven, when you pour that syrup over top, the syrup gets through everything. It totally absorbs that whole, you know, the flavors. So what I do is I'll cut it in half, turn the pan, cut it in half again, then cut each of those halves. So this way you have eight. Okay. Then we're going to cut it 1 more time. So this way we have 16. Okay. Then we're going to take this, throw it in our oven for 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how, in a 350-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes. And also check, you know, every oven is different. So, you know, if you know your oven takes a little bit longer, leave it in a little bit longer. If it takes a little bit less time, leave it in a little bit less. What you're looking for is golden browns on top. It'll golden brown, and it puffs up to about there. So I'm going to throw this in the oven, and if believe there's one more wine. Go to the next wine, and baklava will be right out.
Okay. Cool.